Hey guys, this is Undercover Dudes all the way from Down Under, and today we're going to be talking about the submachine gun and the pistol in Fortnite Battle Royale. Right now, everybody knows that these two weapons are fighting over the spot as the most garbage weapon in Fortnite. So today I'm going to be breaking both of them down and working out which truly is the worst weapon in the game. Let's start out with some clarifications. Even though I'll be just looking at the common versions, the difference between the common, uncommon, and rare are basically non-existent. Also, I'm not going to be talking about the tactical submachine gun. While still quite underpowered, the epic version does have the dakotaz tick of approval.
I wish I had an epic tactical SMG, dude. That one's actually pretty good.
So with that said, the line definitely isn't in contention for the worst weapon in the game. First up, the damage per second. The pistol has a damage of 23 and a fire rate of 6.75, adding up to a DPS of 155.2. The SMG in comparison has a damage of only 10, but a fire rate of 15, adding up to a DPS of 150. Now from pure numbers, it seems like the pistol is an obvious winner, but there are many factors to go and consider. Let's talk about the big point first. The pistol is semi-automatic while the SMG is fully automatic. The fact that you have to go and repeatedly hit the fire button for the pistol is something that will go and put a lot of people off. In the early game, this makes a very big difference. With people being so close to each other, just spraying a weapon up close is infinitely easier than spamming a trigger, which might mean you can go and place your crosshair incorrectly. Another big factor to go and consider is the magazine size. The SMG can hold 25 bullets, but it just never feels like it has enough. I don't know if it's just my terrible aim, but my enemies sometimes live with a sliver of health, and that is super frustrating if you're trying to go and sneak up behind them. If they're an assault rifle, if they have a tactical shotgun, then when they try to go and turn back, you're going to be in a world of pain. In comparison, the pistol doesn't have these ammo problems, as it takes far less shots to actually go and finish off an enemy. Now with all of that said, let's talk a little bit more about the early game. This is when people don't have armor and the SMG hates armor. Because of its pathetically low damage, if you're trying to go and kill somebody with full armor and full health, it can take up to 20 shots, which is absolutely insane. However, if somebody doesn't have any armor, which is really common in the early game, it only takes 10 shots, which is really easy to go and manage. While the pistol only requires 5 shots, overall in the early game the SMG goes and wins out simply because it's easy to use and easy to kill with, just spray and pray. Now let's move to the mid game, and this is where the SMG drops off a little bit and the pistol becomes a bit more viable. Of course by this point you should already have an assault rifle and a shotgun, but let's say for a moment that you spawned in the very corner of the map, you dropped in the corner of the map and you only had a pistol and an SMG to go and choose from. At this point in the game, the ranges that you're going to be fighting people are going to be a little bit longer. Of course you can go for those close range fights, but generally people are going to be running towards the circle out in open fields, and those ranges are going to be, you know, a little bit longer than when everybody's rushing into towns in order to go and get some weapons. One of the big problems with the SMG that you don't notice in the early game is that it's so inaccurate while spraying. Now of course you can go and tap fire it, but if you were, why not go and use the pistol instead? The pistol, even while you are spamming the trigger, is still somewhat accurate, which can really come in handy. The SMG reload time is 2.5 seconds, while the pistol reload time is 1.5 seconds. That is quite a big difference, and it's really important to go and factor that in. You also need to go and factor in that people will have shotguns, and they will just straight up destroy you in a 1v1 battle. If you have a submachine gun and you both have armor and the other person has a shotgun, the shotgun will go and win 9 times out of 10. You have to play quite sneaky with the SMG in order to go and get those close range kills. Now the pistol definitely feels a bit more reliable here. You have to go and remember, it has the same damage as an assault rifle, a base assault rifle, an uncommon assault rifle. It has the exact same damage at 23. And that means if you can go and aim properly, you have a mini assault rifle in your pocket. I feel it's a pretty one-sided battle when it comes to this medium range engagement. If you have a pistol versus submachine gun, the SMG is going to be doing such a pathetic amount of damage. The pistol is going to be pretty hard hitting. The SMG is inaccurate. You're going to run out of ammo. I would have a pistol 9 times out of 10. The only other time is if I'm trying to go for a really big flank on an opponent and I'm right behind him, I'm right up their bum, and I'm just going to spray them with a submachine gun. That's a scenario where I would use the SMG over the pistol. But anything else, the pistol's the gun I would take. However, at late game, the ranges that you generally fight at are ridiculous. Everybody's making their own bases, everybody's trying to go and get as high as possible, and the SMG, and the pistol to be perfectly honest, is really pathetic. If you're trying to go and take pot shots, there really is no hope with that SMG. However, the pistol might be able to go and do some damage. Both are basically unusable as I said before, but the pistol goes and edges the SMG out simply because that 23 damage can hit hard if the enemy doesn't have any shield left. I said it before and I'll say it again, remember that the damage of the pistol is identical to that common assault rifle, though you have to go and factor in nerves. Will you be able to go and track your enemy and fire repeatedly while your heart is beating really fast? If so, the pistol is definitely the superior weapon. But if you're like me and keeping your hands from shaking is a little bit of a challenge, then the SMG is probably the better weapon if you want to get really up close and personal and try to make it like a 50-50 just spray down battle, which is obviously a really risky tactic, but if you have an SMG, that's probably the only way you can go and try to win the game. Now having a look at the common pistol, as we said before, the damage is 23. But for the uncommon variant, it's 24, and for the rare variant, it's 25. And the only other difference between the weapons is the reload time. The common with the 1.5, the uncommon with 1.5, but the rare, or hold your horses boys, 1.4 for the reload time. So overall, the weapons are basically identical. The +2 damage might be significant if the person is really weak, but in the end of it, it's not going to go and matter much. Now moving over to the submachine gun, the common, as we said before, has the damage of 10. The uncommon, hold your horses boys, a damage of 10, and the rare, a damage of 11. The only difference between the variants is obviously the reload speed, 2.5, 2.4, 2.3. So in the end of it, as I said before at the very start of the video, the variants have basically no difference, and overall, it is not worth picking up a rare submachine gun. If you find it, you're like, oh man, this looks pretty cool. It's not really worth picking it up over a normal one if you already have it. You might get a little bit of extra damage, but in the end of it, the 165 DPS in comparison to the 150 DPS, it's not going to have a really big effect on your gameplay. I also went and talked about the tactical submachine gun. Now, the base tactical submachine gun has a damage of 14 and a fire rate of 10, so overall it is a bit of a slow hitter. The DPS is only 140, which is statistically the worst out of the pistols and also the base submachine gun. But you have to go and consider that the spread on this weapon is a lot more tight. It's easier to go and hit your shots, it doesn't go as haywire, and that overall means even though you might have to go and hit an extra shot or two, in the end of it, it's going to be a-okay because you'll be able to go and hit your shots on target. Plus, the magazine size is 5 higher at 30. With all of that said, which gun right now is the worst in Fortnite Battle Royale? In my opinion, it's the submachine gun. The submachine gun is good in the early game. When you're right up close and personal, you can spray people down, you can go and get those really easy kills. But outside of that, you can only just cheese people by just rushing them and hoping they can't go and hit you with one shotgun blast and then you're decimated. You run out of ammo too quickly, 25 bullets is no way enough. The damage is too low, the inaccuracy is too high. Overall, it's a weapon that I wouldn't go and take. And then you have the pistol, and the pistol's a weapon I would go and take over the submachine gun, you know, any day of the week. When it comes down to it, the pistol, it's going to be putting out more damage, and if you can go and hit your shots, it's going to be more consistent damage. The inaccuracy is definitely lower, and the fire rate, even though it's lower, it still is quite good. When it comes down to it, the pistol has okay close range performance. You are going to get dominated by submachine guns and shotguns if you get really close. But it has a little bit of medium range performance. That means you can go and rely on it if you don't have an assault rifle to go and swap to. But with all of that said, these weapons are scraping the bottom of the barrel.
for sure. The submachine gun definitely needs a buff. The pistol, I think, is in quite a good spot. If it's a weapon, only weapon you have, you can go and put in a bit of work. But a submachine gun is definitely the worst in the game right now, and it really needs a buff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to go and give the video a like rating, and also consider subscribing to the channel. I absolutely love Fortnite Battle Royale, and it's definitely a game that I want to go and pick up more in the future. If you guys want to go and see more Fortnite Battle Royale videos, make sure to go and stay around, and I definitely guarantee you won't go and regret it. But with all of that said, this is Undercover Dudes, all the way from down under, out.